So much of the value we create online, it's just invisible, right? It's locked away in some corporate database somewhere. But what if we could actually change that? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical new system that's designed to turn all that locked data into a liquid, tradable asset. It's a huge idea, and honestly, the implications are even bigger.
No, I mean, really think about that for a second. What if that amazing report you wrote or that data set you spent weeks cleaning up, what if it didn't just get you a paycheck? What if it gave you a real, tangible stake, an ownership share that you could hold on to or trade or profit from? That's the revolutionary idea we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so before we get into all of the nuts and bolts of how this works, we need to get on the same page. This whole system really hangs on one single concept: data liquidity. So, what in the world is it? Let's think of it like this. Ownership liquidity is all about taking a big, valuable piece of data and, well, fractioning it, breaking it down into tiny, little ownable pieces. The whole point is to make those pieces tradable, to create a living, breathing market where the real value of data can finally be discovered by everyone. This image here really says it all, doesn't it? We're trying to move from a world where data is basically caged, it's a locked, static thing, to one where it can flow freely. This model transforms it into a dynamic asset that has a real market value, can be swapped in an instant, and actually generates returns for the people who own it. So, how does this amazing transformation actually happen? Well, the journey from just being a static file to becoming a liquid asset, it all starts with one absolutely critical first step: creating clear, undeniable ownership. I mean, you can't trade what you don't officially own, right? So the whole thing kicks off with something called minting. And honestly, it's a lot like a company deciding to go public and issue stock. Once a piece of data gets created, and this is key, verified as being valuable, the system mints a set number of ownership fractions. And each one of these acts like a tiny digital deed, proving you own a piece of that specific asset. And here's where it gets really, really smart. That ownership isn't just one big blob. It's automatically split up based on who did what. So as you can see, the contributors, the people who actually created the data, they get the biggest piece of the pie. But the system also rewards the validators, who check that the data is accurate, backers, who might have put up some early funding, and even the protocol treasury, which just keeps the lights on for the whole system. This chart makes it super clear. Here, the creators get the lion's share at 75%, as they should. But look at this. The validators, the ones who make sure the data is high quality and trustworthy, they also get a nice 15% stake. It's a whole ecosystem that's really designed to reward everyone who makes that data more valuable. Okay, so we've got ownership sorted out. But, just owning something doesn't pay the bills. The next crucial piece is actually getting paid. How does the value from this data actually get into the pockets of the owners? Let's follow the money. The way you get paid is designed to be super transparent and reliable. First, as the data gets used, the value it generates is tracked constantly. That's the accrual. Then, on a regular schedule, say every month, the payouts are all calculated and sent out during settlement. And finally, the payout itself comes in stablecoins, which is a type of digital currency that's pegged to something like the dollar, so you're protected from all those crazy price swings. So you can almost think of it like a water wheel. The data asset is the stream, and it's always flowing, always turning that wheel to generate value. This is not about some one-time lottery ticket payday. The whole system is built to create a steady, predictable flow of income. The idea is to make data creation a truly sustainable career. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful piece of this whole puzzle. We figured out ownership, and we've got a way to get paid. So now, how do we unlock the market and make that ownership truly liquid, truly tradable? And this slide just cuts right to the heart of it. A certificate of ownership that's just sitting in a drawer, it's basically just a piece of paper. The real value is unlocked when you can do something with that ownership. Sell it when you need to, trade it for something else, whatever. That is what true liquidity is all about. So the system has a few key tools to make this all happen. You can do a simple transfer of your fractions to somebody else, or you can get a little fancier with portfolio bundling, which is cool. It lets you package different data assets together, kind of like creating your own personal ETF of information. And it all culminates in secondary markets, where buyers and sellers can meet and figure out the true price of these assets. And you'll see the token here, XNY, that's the native token you use to pay for these transactions on the system. So let's just boil this down. What can you actually do as an owner? 1. You can sell your stake directly for cash. 2. You can bundle up your assets to diversify and lower your risk. And 3, and this one is so important, you have a transparent market that gives you price discovery. It tells you what your assets are actually worth at any given moment.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second from all the mechanics and just look at the big picture. If a system like this really takes off, what does that mean for all of us? I mean, are we looking at the start of a completely new economy, one that's built on data?
This visual really puts the whole shift into perspective, doesn't it? We're moving from that old model of data silos where all the value is trapped and you can't even see it. The new model unlocks all that value. It creates a transparent, tradable market where the price of information can finally be discovered by anyone and everyone.
If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. This entire system is about building the fundamental infrastructure, the financial plumbing, if you will, that lets information be valued, owned, and traded just as easily as we trade things like stocks or gold today.
Which leaves us with one last, kind of mind-blowing question to chew on. If this vision actually becomes a reality, what will the stock market for information even look like? How would we decide the value of a viral meme versus a scientific discovery or piece of groundbreaking journalism? The possibilities are just staggering, and that's something really worth thinking about.